Welcome back to the deep dive. We've had some really fascinating sources shared with us, exploring deeper meanings, self-discovery, that kind of thing.
Yes, some really rich material.
Definitely. And today we're diving into Kirsi Makinen's article on the sacred architecture of becoming, plus some related ideas from the dancing cosmos.
Right.
Our mission really is to unpack these ideas, make them accessible, and pull out actionable insights about, well, your own path without getting overwhelmed.
Exactly. And central to all of this is that phrase, sacred architecture of becoming.
Okay.
Think of it like a blueprint for the soul's journey. Makinen talks about how it involves time, transcendence, self-unfolding.
It sounds like a big picture.
It is. And
Yeah.
we'll look at the roles Saturn, Uranus, and Mercury play in it. Plus this idea of God consciousness from the other source.
Okay, let's get into it. The sacred architecture, starting with Saturn. Makinen calls it the time-bound architect of reality. Sounds weighty.
It really is foundational in her view. Saturn isn't just, astrology. It's presented as this living threshold.
A threshold.
Yeah, between the visible world and the invisible. It's the container, sort of, where we learn and master things in this reality.
So it's not just about limits and no, because Saturn often gets that reputation, doesn't it?
It does, but Makinen tackles that head on. She talks about this paradox, freedom through form.
Freedom through form, how does that work?
Well, the idea is that Saturn's boundaries aren't prisms. They're more like scaffolding.
Yeah.
Essential structure you need to build your own sovereignty, your own mastery.
Oh.
So the journey isn't about escaping the world, trying to bypass it. It's about evolving through your experiences in it, grounding the spiritual in the real.
Right. Like you need the rules of grammar before you can write poetry, or scales before you improvise.
Exactly, that kind of idea. And Makinen emphasizes that Saturn's lessons, discipline, responsibility, even failure, they're crucial. They're like ingredients for the soul's development.
Necessary ingredients.
Without engaging them, potential just stays potential, untapped.
And the evolutionary astrology angle. The sources link Saturn to our conditioning family culture.
Yes, and the idea there is that it's not random. The soul apparently chooses this conditioning. It's part of its curriculum,
Chooses it. Wow.
Yeah, for growth. It provides the friction, the resistance needed. So challenges aren't just bad luck, they're opportunities for understanding.
Okay. And there's a Jungian take too. Saturn as the shadow, authority, rules we internalize.
But the goal isn't just throwing it all off. It's about developing a conscious relationship with it.
Conscious relationship.
Yeah, seeing your conditioning and then intentionally reshaping it, moving from just following the crowd to aligning with your own inner truth.
Makes sense. The source mentions the Chronos myth too, devouring his children. That's pretty intense.
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makinen sees it as representing that fear of change, wanting to freeze things.
Stop the new from emerging.
Right. But then Zeus overthrows Kronos, and that symbolizes the shift from unconscious repetition.
Doing the same thing over and over.
Exactly, to conscious evolution. So when you're stuck in a loop, that's Saturn saying, hey, opportunity to choose differently here.
So Saturn governs boundaries, body, culture, time, mind, but also holds the key to transforming them into wisdom.
That's the idea. Time becomes the practice field.
And grounding spiritual ideas in tangible reality is key. Working with the present moment.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
So the initial phase with Saturn is about structure allowing fluidity, boundaries enabling creativity, living with time, not against it, and seeing failure as instruction.
Okay, that's the start, but then there's a more advanced phase.
Yes, what Makinen calls Saturnian mastery. You start shaping your reality more consciously, aligning it with something deeper, more eternal.
So the structures you build become an inheritance.
Exactly. Both internal and external. You shift from being shaped by society to consciously shaping it.
Now the Saturn-Uranus polarity comes up. Saturn traditionally rules Aquarius. That links individual and collective.
It does, yeah. And Makinen points out that even Aquarius, the sign of innovation in groups, needs that Saturn structure underneath.
So freedom isn't just chaos.
No, it's structured freedom, you could say, like an orchestra of individual parts within a whole piece. It raises questions like, how do you live your truth while respecting others?
How do you stay individual but part of the whole?
Right. Cultivating inner authority, belonging without losing yourself.
So Saturn's shadow, that internalized shame, judgment, the medicine, isn't just rebellion.
No, it's agency through conscious restructuring. Thoughtful change, not just impulsive reaction.
So the conditioning is the starting point, the friction we need.
It is. It's the grip that makes the pearl, maybe. And Saturn's cycles in life reflect the soul's readiness for these shifts. Fighting them just causes struggle.
Whereas working with them
Can lead to breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Saturn changes from taskmaster to a wise partner, helping you hold more light, more authenticity.
And eventually, if we really internalize these lessons, time feels different.
That's the idea. When a lesson is truly learned, the need for it repeats less. Karmic patterns dissolve, perhaps?
So transcendence isn't escaping time.
No, it's fulfillment within time. Finding the timeless within the moment. That's Saturn's final gift, maybe. A gateway.
Resting in Saturn, completing the work.
Yeah. Leaving behind a vibrational structure. A legacy. Saturn is endings, but also continuity. The structure of freedom.
So we move from apprentice to master to transcender of time.
In a way, yes. Aligning with its rhythm.
That's a really profound reframing of Saturn. Okay, so we have the structure. Now, the sources talk about the new ground where consciousness can arise, this God consciousness idea from the dancing cosmos. What's the essence of that?
Mekanin describes it beautifully as the pulse of beingness.
Pulse of being?
Yeah,
right?
like this quiet, fundamental rhythm under all the noise, under thoughts, under forms. It's the witness inside you.
The part that just watches, even watches beliefs.
Exactly. And it's also the source of creation itself, a primal memory.
Witness and creator. Are they separate?
Not really. They're seen as two expressions of the same pulse, like silence and music, or breathing in and breathing out. Inseparable.
So it's about accessing that stillness before things take shape.
Yes. Pure witness, pure presence. Before the mirror of reality forms, the one is just whole, untouched.
And then?
Then there's a stirring, an urge to see, to know itself. The one opens its eye, not outwards, but inwards.
Okay.
That first touch of awareness on itself initiates creation. The one becomes two witnessing creator, and the world starts to breathe, and we're part of that echo, our consciousness.
Wow. And this witness and creator, they're in a constant dance.
Absolutely. Not fighting, but complementing. Mekanin uses the analogy of seeing with one eye versus two.
One eye is the stillness.
Yes, pure witness. Two eyes engage with the depth, the complexity of the created world.
And the spiral of creation involves becoming two, forgetting, then seeking.
Kind of. Becoming two to reflect. Forgetting initiates the search, leading back to wholeness, but now with the witness in the world.
So the point isn't escaping form.
No. It's infusing form with spirit, recognizing the sacred in our humanity.
The source mentions descending into the womb, unformed potentiality. That sounds deep.
It's described as a necessary descent into the 0 point, the pause between beats.
Not empty, but full of potential.
Exactly, the fertile ground. It requires stillness, surrender, letting go of identity for a moment.
And what emerges is transformed.
Invariably. Witness and creator become more unified within you. You're the artist, the brushstroke, and the canvas.
And this remembering of God consciousness, it's happening all the time in daily life.
Yes. In every breath, every joy, every sorrow, there's an echo of that original opening.
So we're not behind schedule.
Not at all. Mekanin reassures us you're exactly where you need to be in the spiral. Creation isn't just a past event, it's a state of being. Now.
Presence becoming form, love becoming vision.
Yes. When you stop striving to be someone else, you become the space for the divine to remember itself through you.
Witnessing becomes this vast intimacy, holding form and formless.
The dark womb isn't absence, but divinity before identity, letting it undo our fixed ideas so we can be reborn.
So God consciousness isn't static, it's a becoming, a spiral.
Folding and blooming, a singing silence, and we're already home within it.
That's beautiful. Okay, so structures with Saturn, the ground of consciousness. Now Uranus and Mercury, illuminating the sacred architecture. What do they bring?
Mekanin presents them as reflecting different kinds of intelligence, complementary.
How so?
Mercury is our conditioned linear thinking. It likes order, operates within Saturn's structures, defines things.
Okay, the logical mind.
Right. Uranus, though, it dissolves categories, takes us back to the unconditioned light, our essential being.
Ah, so it's about soul freedom, intelligence before thought.
Exactly. Transcending names, stories. Mercury asks, what is this? Uranus just is. It reminds us our uniqueness is inherent, not earned. Mekanin says conditioning is optional. Belonging is already inherent.
So Uranus is that spark, the authentic bit that doesn't quite fit the boxes.
Precisely. It's the soul's deeper individuality, consistent across lives. Mercury builds the personality for this life. They're like mirror images, different frequencies.
And the soul knows itself through Resonance with Uranus.
Yeah, resonating with those archetypal energies Uranus embodies. We're beings of resonance, not just stories needing fixing.
And Uranus is pure witnessing. How's that different from the God consciousness witness?
Very similar, but maybe more from the soul's individual perspective. It's that instant, unfiltered perception before the mind labels it.
And Mercury takes that raw perception.
And turns it into thought, gives it language, structure, makes it understandable. Both are vital.
Need Mercury to function, communicate.
Right. But without Uranus, Mercury can get lost in its own logic. Mistake thoughts for reality? Forget the deeper soul underneath.
It's a dance. Soul and persona, liberation and learning.
Exactly. And Uranian freedom isn't freedom from something. It's freedom as your true self. Resonance.
Which explains why Uranian types might feel like outsiders. They challenge structures naturally.
They do. Uranus seeks reality. Its message is, it's safe to be what you are. Connection comes through resonance, not conformity.
And Mercury provides the tools to understand what Uranus reveals. But danger if Mercury forgets Uranus.
Yeah, it can get trapped in categorizing without wisdom. Language becomes a cage, not a tool. But when aligned, Mercury translates the soul's insights beautifully.
The source also links Uranus to memory as a soul imprint, beyond time-space.
That's right. The totality of experience held as resonance, not just stories.
So we get stuck retelling trauma stories.
Mercury narrates the story, reinforcing it. Uranus holds the silent awareness that can dissolve the charge. Liberation comes from becoming the witness, not the story.
Stop believing the story so rigidly.
Yes, often a sudden shift. And you can't cling to rigid Saturn structures and embrace Uranian freedom simultaneously.
Interesting. And technology, linked to Uranus. Mercury reaching for its vision.
Yeah. Like we're rediscovering eternal intelligence, not inventing something totally new, remembering what we are, not becoming new beings.
So the synthesis, the goal, is embodying both. Witness and word.
That's the key. Thought arising from pure observation, learning without attachment, communicating to connect.
Leading to a mind beyond just thinking. Clear awareness.
Yes. Becoming inventors of our own being. Reflecting truth, remembering. We already are.
Wow. Okay, so putting it all together. This sacred architecture is this amazing interplay. Saturn's structures and lessons.
Learn through time and experience.
The spiral of God consciousness as our ground of being.
Always present.
And Uranus and Mercury illuminating the path. Unconditioned awareness, integrated understanding.
That sums it up well. The key takeaways are, engage with structure for growth. Recognize that ground of consciousness within, and liberation comes from embracing our unconditioned essence. Guided by Uranus and Mercury working together.
This has been really, really insightful. It's fascinating how these different pieces weave together. Makes you think, maybe the challenges, the Saturn stuff we resist. Maybe that's exactly what pushes us towards that deeper awareness, that Uranian insight, which Mercury then helps us understand.
That's a great way to look at it, and maybe reflect on this. Those moments you felt most truly you, were they defined by external rules, or did they come from somewhere deeper inside?
Good question.
It's definitely an ongoing exploration, a journey. Hopefully this deep dive has given everyone a useful new lens for their own path.